what's good? This is Marcus the Fingaz, back at it again. Just a quick video showing you some ways where you can um, affect a sample on the iPad using some apps, AUV3 mainly apps on the iPad. I will be using Beatmaker 3, but you can sort of apply this to other DAWs, Cubasis, Audio Pro, AUM, Nano Studio, whatever apps you guys are using. I actually have a session open here. I'm not gonna play this session. This is a remix I'm working on. I'll be posting up shortly. But I wanted to do is I'm gonna create a new bank here. Just go to some of my sounds here. I have a bunch of sounds. I only keep my favorites here on the iPad. Even all these I don't use. But we're gonna go to Ill Mind up here at the top, and I have a lot of his blap kits here. I'm gonna use his Shaolin Story samples, and we'll go to let's see, this Fight for Honor here. I don't think I've used that. Let's see what that sounds like. Actually, I may have used that. We'll go to Fire versus Ice. Cool. So I'm going to bring that in here. Again, this is just me messing around real quick. So here I am on the sample page. Normally what I like to do is either I will do auto slice here and slice it up. What I also like to do is this attack down here at the bottom is I like to move that to just under, you can either 1 second or just below 1 millisecond, I'm sorry. Just so you sort of get rid of some of that clipping that happens at the beginning. Depending on the sample, I might put a high pass filter at about 250, 350. If it has a lot of bass in there. This one I don't think does. And then I also like to, depending on what I want to do, I can either tune it. So I'm already getting some ideas there. What you could also do is, let's say you want to reverse it, and you can reverse the samples. And that actually helps to make it unique so that you're not using it straightforward. Sometimes I just use a sample straightforward and add drums to it and call it a day. But if you want to sort of customize the sample to your needs, definitely pitch shift it up or down. Throw in some reverse. So there's some of that. So let's say I like this the way it is. On Beatmaker 3 here, what I can do is do save, slice to pads. I'm going to start it at pad 1 in this bank H. I'm going to set it to choke group 1. What a choke group is where when I play one pad, if I play another pad while one pad is playing, it'll stop playing the first pad and keep playing the second pad. Otherwise, if I have it off or at none, whenever I have a pad, all the pads will just play on top of each other, which is crazy. So we're going to hit apply. So here's what we have so far. So what you might be hearing is some of that. You hear some little static noise. That is probably a limitation of the iPad I'm using. So what I would do is go through each of these and let's see. So you sort of hear it there, but I would go through each of these and go to edit and trim. And what it does is it cuts down the iPad. It cuts down that sample to just the region that. So instead of having this whole song here, I go to edit, trim, and then there you go. Let me do that real quick with all the pads here. And if someone knows of a faster way to automatically trim all the samples in a bank, please let me know, because I do this often, especially with longer samples. And sometimes I do, I only did 16 chops here, but sometimes I do 32 chops, so I have to do this for 32 chops. I rarely go above 32, but sometimes, it gets time consuming. So if you can automate a lot of this stuff, or if there's something in here that I'm missing that automatically trims a sample to the start and end points, let me know. So let's say I have an idea. Let's solo this, and let's say I want to put down an idea. We'll just work with whatever tempo I have. We'll do. I mean, that's kind of dope. I might, man, I didn't plan on saving this, but I might have to save this and export it because I liked, especially that ending part. Anyway, so let's see. And what we'll do is we'll go here and we will loop this 8-bar thing. I do like to name the samples I'm using. Illmind, Shaolin Samples Volume 2. Fire versus ice. So that's just right now. So far what we got, we've pitch shifted the sample. I think we did it down 3 semitones, and we reversed the sample, and then we chopped the sample. So sample chops, and then once we chopped the samples, we trimmed each chop so that it's only the length of the start and end point of that sample. Again, you can do this, I think, in some other software, definitely with MPCs. This is just how I do it in Beatmaker 3. So what I would do at this point, just to show you some effects I could throw in there, I usually put saturator first, just because I can sort of add. So it's almost like I use it as a gain, which you might see in some plugins called something called gain, just to boost the level up or down. So let's say I boosted up 3, or you can turn it all the way down. And then I just go through. So you have some of the built-in effects here. Something I would do with this one, I would probably go into my audio units here at the top, and then audio units again. I mainly use AUV3 effects and AUV3 apps. Interapp audios, there are some great ones out there. I've just been focusing a lot, especially over the last 6 months to a year, on AUV3 apps. And I have a bunch, as you can see here. Maybe I'll go slower in case you want to take note. I won't go through all these apps right now. That might be another video. But there are a lot of great apps on there. I posted another video where you can see how I find apps that are on sale. There are some great sales happening right now, and then how you can find apps that are free in the App Store. For this particular, what I would like to do for this one, I think I'm going to go with, I'm just going to load them up here, and then I'll go through each app. So Reelbus from Tone Boosters here, I'm going to add that. I'm going to add QuatroMod, which is an audio damage app here. And what I wish is that they were in alphabetical order. I don't know what type of order they are in. But I wish the app names, so they can be alphabetized by company, but once, like you see audio damage, I have Enso here, and then I have EOS 2 sort of close to the bottom. But QuatroMod is the second one here. And then I want to add some type of delay, so I could do a send return effect, but a lot of times I just throw it on the track. So I'm going to add... I go between Alteza, which is a sort of reverb thing, and Modley, which I've been using, Klevgrand Modley I used it for a while. I haven't used it a lot lately because I've been using Alteza, and I'll show you how I use both. There are a bunch of other apps, a bunch of other ways you can sort of tweak it. You can do some bit crushing, some sampling, chopping. I will add one more. I will add Effectrix, which has been my cheat code currently. So Effectrix right here. So what I'll do is I'll go through each of these apps individually and show you what I might do with a sample like this. So starting with Reelbus, so saturator again at the top there, I use to boost the level of the sample. We're going to play it back here. So that's sort of the before. Reelbus on like this. This is a sort of tape simulation by tone boosters. What I like to do with sounds like this, there's a bunch of presets here, and I'm a huge fan of presets. If you've seen some of my other videos, I just like to find a preset and just keep it moving. Let's see. Might listen to this Japanese one. So there's some subtle tape things going on there. Distant echoes. Let's see what that sounds like. That sounds kind of cool. Tape echo. We'll do tape echo. And that's all built into this one app. Tape treble. So you sort of hear the tape noise there. What I usually do, just by default, is I go to Canadian boards on a sound like this, and what it does is add some slight variation to the track. So very subtle, but effective. And after that, I have QuatroMod. So what this does is add some width to the track. So right now it's kind of sort of in the center. Add QuatroMod. You already hear it getting wide a little bit. And I usually just go to one of these presets. So let's start at the top. Big stereo pad. Hear it having some character being put in. Let's try this comb phasey thing. Or we can go to some of the other diffuser presets. It just takes it to the left. We can go to flanger presets here. Sort of sound like a video game. And then we can go to freak shift. So yeah, I usually stick to the chorus ones at the top. Maybe diffuser if I'm trying to go for a certain effect. Let's go to big stereo pad for that. Let me take the Reelbus off. So this is just a QuatroMod. So that's something you can do. Alteza here, this will just add all kinds of space to it. This is just the... So you sort of hear that delay there, that reverb tail, I mean. This is just the initialized preset, but what I like to do is I usually just pick a random preset. Let's go to Water Fairy. You sort of hear some fun stuff going on there. Let's try... actually, let's go to diving the blue hole. So that's definitely, you hear that's going to ring out for a while. I actually use this preset a lot, and what I do is I tend to bring up the dry. I have the wet maybe low, and I turn down the feedback here. So let's hear that. And we can bring up the wet a little bit. So it actually might serve better as a send and a return, but I usually just throw it on the track. So here's all three. So if I don't use Alteza, I could use Modley. And I usually go to one of these instrument presets, one of these synth lead presets, but definitely go through each of these presets on your sound. And what I tend to do, let's say I go to synth lead 1 and just turn it down to under 10%, so maybe at 7. And here's how that's sounding. So you sort of hear the filtering going on there. Let's see how it sounds with all the effects on there. So you hear it starting to have some life to it. And then the cheat code I've been using lately, Effectrix. This is basically a number of effects. I believe it's 12 or 13 effects here that just add some variation. I have a bunch of presets that I downloaded for free off of the web. It also comes with a bunch of presets, so all these factory presets here. So to give you an idea of what it can do, I'm just going to play it and go through some of the presets. I actually like what that's doing. And then some of the user presets here, we'll just start here at the half speed. activist. I've actually used this on a couple tracks. And then some other presets I've downloaded from Beatmakers is a squad. Shout out to Beatmakers is a squad. She's the producer for this dope set of presets. I think he released them for free. They might still be free, or there might be a small fee for them. But definitely check them out. Here's how some of those sound on this sample. I actually have used this on a couple too. This is probably one of my favorites. So just to add some cool variation, Effectrix is a great app, definitely worth, I don't know the price of it right now, but it's definitely worth every penny. I'll go through some more presets for you. Again, these are Beatmakers is a squad presets, free presets for Effectrix that he released. And I'll actually stop there. What else? Something else you can do in Effectrix is you can just create your own. So let's say you have this grid here. You might help to know a little bit of sort of music theory, beat sequencing. So let's say I'm going to play it through. I want to filter the whole thing. Options at the bottom here. We can change some of the settings for each of the effects. So you can just go crazy. Some people like to just have different colors going. You can have, you can just select stuff randomly and see what happens. There is this dice button up here where it will create random things. Let's play with that. For this one, I'd probably go with the Beatmakers as a squad. It was either 12 or I think it was 6. Let's see what 12 was. I think it was this one. So I'd probably go with that one. And then what I would do is at this mix button up here, so I would automate this. So I would say maybe for 8 bars, keep it like this. And then at the 9th bar, bring in sort of the automate that mix knob so it's at 100%. So that's just some quick ways. Again, there are so many effects. You saw the ones I have, sort of the AUV3 effects I have. I'm going to scroll down slowly. I have used most of these. Some of them I haven't used. And again, of course, I don't use them all on every track, but just knowing what I want to use sometimes and having those options. You do not need to have this many options now. There are so many options. Having a decent, I would say, start with QuatroMod, I think, is free. The Tone Bus stuff is free. Klevgrand is free. Not free. Tone Boosters Reelbus, I don't think is free, but really inexpensive. FAC, all their apps, and then Effectrix. I would say start there. And then definitely look at the free stuff through the AUV3 downloads, and should be good to go. So this is Marcus the Fingaz. Thank you for checking it out. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next video.